but I've got this really stupid message I need to give. Well, it is. It's a message. You'll understand in a minute. It's probably one of the more stupid messages I've ever given. The most stupid message, I think, that I've ever given, in fact. How many of you know what an ID10T error is? Yeah, some of you do. Here, let me show the rest of you what an ID10T error is. See, it's an ID10T error. If they're not watching by video, write ID10T on a piece of paper, and you'll get a special message. How many of you have to work with some people who have an ID10T problem? Never happens? Well, I've been thinking about this for a long time. In fact, I had Joan look up the word idiot for me months ago and put the definition on my desk. I think you put it on my desk. I asked you to look it up. I don't remember exactly how that all went. I've been thinking about this for a long time. But a lot of us have a hard time because we do have to work with people who we wouldn't want to call them idiots because that's not the right thing to say. It's a bad thing to call somebody an idiot, and you shouldn't call people stupid. But a lot of us know stupid idiots. I mean, just for a while I wasn't sure about that because I was thinking, stupid idiot. Wouldn't that be like two negatives, which makes a positive? So if you were ignorant of being an idiot, then you would not be idiot, right? So if you called somebody a stupid idiot, wouldn't that be saying that you're a genius? But then I realized that stupid is an adjective and idiot is a noun, so it's describing the idiot, and the idiot is stupid. Some of you are probably just a little offended already because I'm using the words stupid and idiot over and over. It's really kind of an interesting thing. I actually found a Bible verse that has the word idiot in it. I don't know whether you knew that was in your Bible. You know, there have been times in my past when, because I'm a pastor, people have suggested that I don't really know what it's like to work with stupid heathen people. But how many of you know that heathens don't have a corner on the market on stupid? Like, lots of people have been able to prove that they have the spirit of stupid on them. Bill Johnson likes to use the phrase spirit of stupid. I do get to work with Christians, but some of you know now I took a secular job just for the summer for an experience. I'm having quite the experience there. And I've run into some people that are, well, maybe less than intelligent about certain things. But I'm here to tell you that people who don't serve God do not have a corner on the market on stupid. Christians can sometimes be stupid. That's why this is going to be a stupid message today. You all get this as time goes on, but here's the Bible verse I found. It's the only verse in the NASB, the New American Standard Bible. It's the only verse that they actually translate a word, a Hebrew word, and they translate it as idiot. And it's found in Job chapter 11, verse 12. You can turn there if you want, but if you don't have the NASB, it might read a little different. The NASB reads like this: an idiot will become intelligent when the foal of a wild donkey is born a man. That's one of those verses that we need to memorize, isn't it? We just memorize that verse. There's a memory verse for the kids back in the back. Yeah. Another version says, let me just clarify, this is the Good News translation. Stupid people will start being wise when wild donkeys are born tame. I actually looked at a lot of versions of this verse. It's kind of interesting, but it's interesting for me to realize that the words idiot and stupid can be found in certain versions of the Bible, and that the way we think about those words may have some interesting ramifications. Today, we consider those words extremely impolite. I do know a person, and if she listens to this podcast or is streaming, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you super uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable with the word stupid, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable. I'm going someplace with this, and it has a purpose, so therefore it is what it is. But I know a person who, she's like really angry if you ever use the word stupid, especially if you call somebody stupid. I'm not for that. I'm not trying to give us you won't get to the end of the message today and feel comfortable calling each other stupid idiots. You won't. That's not the purpose of the message. Although if stupid idiot meant that you were a smart guy, if it was a double negative and it made it opposite, that'd be awesome. But because I've been called a stupid idiot a lot, and I'd like to think I'm a genius, but probably isn't true. Definition for idiot: an utterly stupid or foolish person. There are words in the Bible that are translated fool. And especially in Proverbs, there's a lot of information about being a fool and being foolish. And I'm not wanting to encourage people to do that. I found this interesting, though, as a second sub kind of a piece of information about the word idiot. It says, number 2, a person of the lowest order in a former classification of mental retardation, having a mental age of less than 3 years and an intelligence quotient under 25. Did you know that once upon a time, idiot was just a term for a person in the medical/psychiatric realm, and it was a clinical, there's the word I'm looking for, a clinical term for a human being. It wasn't like this politically incorrect, horrible thing that you never call anybody. It was, in fact, a way of trying to determine what level at which a person was mentally functioning. And if they couldn't function up to a certain level, then they were considered under that heading of idiot. See, the word actually comes from a Greek word that has to do with singular or to yourself. And some people, when they have mental incapacities, they do stay to themselves. They stay away from other people, and that's kind of, Of course, some of us know people who get up in front of people and talk all the time, and some of them are idiots too. But nevertheless, I digress. Because it was a medical term, it wasn't thought of as bad. I remember being a boy in elementary school, probably 2nd or 3rd grade, and being told by a teacher concerning some kids who were in what wasn't called special education back then. I don't know exactly what it was. But I remember being told by this teacher not to call anybody an idiot. I was with some guys who had done so, and we were told, don't call anybody an idiot, call them retarded. And how many of you know if you look at somebody today and you say you're retarded, it's not appreciated. But back then, it was an improvement over idiot. You realize words mean things, but sometimes we put meaning on them that they don't actually initially have, and then they become something else down the road. If I were to start taking a poll, we could probably fill the board with words that used to mean one thing, but now when you say them, they mean a whole different thing. When I was a kid, if you got a megabyte, it was probably a really big dog that did it. And you'll think of those things now. You probably can, there's words going through your heads right now. I'm not going to write them down. And every year, new words become politically incorrect. So how many of you know we wouldn't call a child retarded now because that's considered wrong? So we have another phrase. It's something we need to be aware of. I'm not suggesting we should start using old terms and calling people things that calling anybody a name. In fact, I'll get to that a little bit later. Today, I guess do we still say some people are mentally handicapped? Is that appropriate, or we got a different term? Challenged. There you go. Yeah. The word stupid translates this way: lacking ordinary quickness and keenness of mind, dull. And I thought to myself, well, right there you go. That's me on a lot of days. How many of you have days when your keenness of mind isn't all that it needs to be? And by the way, I don't buy this thing that as you get older, keenness of mind goes because you're old. I know it's not true. In fact, there was a day, a few years ago, when I first got into the house that I'm in Sherwood Forest, that I had a couple of young men come and help me. And they made me feel really, really good, because they were helping me with some wiring. And I had done this really weird thing. I still don't know how I did it to this day. But I'll just tell you who they were. It was Jeremiah and Josiah. And they were down in the basement helping me. And I had somehow wired a light. And when you would flip the light switch on, the light would blink. You remember that, Jeremiah? I got no idea how that happened. And I brought them in, and Josiah worked on it. And he just fixed it. He didn't tell me what I did wrong. I don't have a clue what I did wrong. It should have worked. I wired a couple other lights, and they worked. But that one just blink, blink, blink. It's the weirdest thing. But at one point, they both made me feel very, very good, because they were having a senior moment at the same time. And I think, this is what, like 7 years ago now? So, I don't know. How old were you guys? Both in your 20s anyway, right? 22, 23, right. Yeah, right in there, 24. And they're both having a senior moment because both of them laid tools down and couldn't find them. Walking around the basement looking for their tools. And I thought, yes! It doesn't have anything to do with getting old. It just has to do with having a moment. And I used to do that when I was young, but when you're young, you don't do that. You just get mad and you kick things and you try to find it. When you're old, you go, well, I'm having a senior moment. That's what you do sometimes. Stupid also translated as characterized by or proceeding from mental dullness or foolishness, senselessness, as in a stupid question. How many of you know, I kind of say a lot of times there are no stupid questions except for the one that's not asked. Because a lot of times you have no idea what a person doesn't understand about what you're saying. So you need to give them chances to ask questions. And it goes on, tedious, dull, especially true, or due to a lack of meaning or sense, a stupid party is an example. Or, something that's troublesome or irritating, turn off that stupid radio. Or one of them was in a state of stupor. Anybody besides me ever been in a state of stupor? You're just like, I don't know what's going on right now. So what I found was that there are things that I can relate to when it comes to stupid. I can relate pretty good, in fact. Maybe better than I'd like. So I looked up the Hebrew word translated idiot in the verse that I gave you from Job. And it's the word ish. I-S-H, ish. Hebrew word ish. And so I looked to see how it was translated elsewhere in the Bible, and it's used quite frequently. It's only translated in the NASB one time as as idiot. But it's translated other places as all or another or any man or any man's or anyone or anyone or archers. I can't figure that one out. Or certain or champion. What? And I just started looking at the places that it was translated. Each man, every man, each one's, one another. And what I kept finding was, the more I looked at it, the more I realized that it was just actually a reference to humans. Ish was just a human condition, and the context of what was going on was how they decided that what kind of human it was. Whether it was a stupid human or a smart human or whatever it was. Just the context of what was going on around them. I thought that was an interesting way that the language is translated. I did find that it was referred to as men and as man, your husband, and it had to do with Mary and male, but I never actually found it in reference to a woman. Just thought I'd mention that. I don't know if it means anything. You guys having fun yet? The women are all having fun. It's like, yeah, we knew that. Men are stupid sometimes. So here's my take on it anyway. After studying this out and looking at what the Bible has to say, I've decided that this is true. And here's what's true. That we are all subject to being idiots from time to time. We are all subject to not knowing what we should or could know. We are all subject to having those moments when we don't understand something. As one young man used to say, you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you just don't know. How many of you know that there have been times when you did look like an idiot because something that everybody else seemed to know, but you didn't know, and then you felt like an idiot? Yeah, there you go. Andrew is an honest and wonderful young man. There are times when I've been left out of the loop. I didn't get it. I didn't get the memo. And it has to be kind of okay. I've mentioned this before. Some of you remember the story. I was driving home from Fort Wayne one day, and I'm talking to God, and I'm not doing the best with the day that He's given me, and I'm kind of just lamenting to Him, and I'm like, Lord, I'm so glad you love me when I'm stupid. And He responded back. It wasn't audible, but it might as well have been, oh, I have to love you when you're stupid, otherwise I'd never get to love you. But the truth is, we all start out at a level of lacking knowledge, right? And that's the thing. Because all of that's kind of been said to get you to this point. So what do we do with stupid people? How do you deal with stupid people? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to deal with stupid people. Sometimes I wonder what the deal is with stupid people that are around me. I start thinking, wow, what were they thinking? You ever been in that spot where you're looking at somebody and you're thinking, what are they thinking? How come it is they're behaving that way? But I found sometimes, too, that it's not me. Or it's not them. Like, I don't know why they're behaving a certain way. And then I check it out, and I find out that there's a good reason why they're doing that, and there's something wrong with me that I'm not doing it. How do you deal with stupid people? Do you find yourself getting frustrated because of stupid people? Am I the only one who's ever had that happen? You know what's really frustrating is stupid people who are supposed to be God's children, and I think they should know better, and somehow they don't. Like, why are they doing that? Isn't it obvious to them that we're not supposed to do that? Here's the answer to that question. Isn't it obvious to them that they shouldn't be doing that? Here's the answer. Apparently not. How many of you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, well, what stupid thing can I do today? Yeah, let's see. Make a list of stupid things that I can do. Let's start out with make some bacon and eggs, and then right after I'm done doing that, I'll just put my hand right down on the griddle. That'll be stupid. Let's try that. No? How many of you think you're right all the time? Most people say, no, I don't think I'm right all the time. Okay. But how many of you try to do the right thing as opposed to trying to do the wrong thing? So in a sense, don't you already think you're right all the time? Like, when you do something, you're not thinking, well, let's do this wrong. This will be fun. No, you think you're right. And like most of the time, you thought you were right until you found out you weren't. Right? So, did it ever dawn on you that stupid idiot over there thought he was right until he found out he wasn't? That's a thought, isn't it? Like, that guy going down the wrong way on a one-way street. Do you think he was thinking, hey, here's a fun thing. Let's drive the wrong way on a one-way street? I know it does occasionally happen with teenagers. They're like, I wonder if I can get away with this. But for the most part, honestly, most people don't pull into a one-way street thinking, I will tell you this, maybe I'm different than the rest of you. Let me ask first, how many of you have ever gone down a one-way street the wrong way? Besides me, okay. Okay, just last week. Thanks, City of Defiance. They changed it, right? It was different. Okay, now let me ask this question. Don't raise your hands. How many of you ever went down a one-way street on purpose the wrong way just because you wanted to, because I'm going to show them? Might be one or two of you around, but I can tell you in my lifetime, the only time I've gone down a one-way street the wrong way was when I was like being an idiot. You know, I just didn't know. Somehow I pulled in and didn't realize that I was about to do that. How many of you have ever like pulled your car into a pole or something, you banged it with your car, and you felt like an idiot afterwards? I remember being in Cincinnati at a Jesus coffee house, and I parked in this place, and when I pulled out, I was looking because the street was really busy, and so I'm looking this way, and I'm turning, trying to back out on the street, and there was a pole beside me, and I just went, boom, pushed the front end right into just steered the front end right into a pole. It's a big pole. Duh. Here's the thing. I remember being so mad that I pulled myself out of the car and I started hitting myself. You stupid! Just, what's wrong with... No? No, I didn't. I just sat there in the car feeling stupid and hoping nobody saw. But the problem was there was a big, shape in the front fender. See, this is the thing. We really need to learn how to deal with stupid because a lot of it happens. And it happens through people who then kind of feel like idiots or maybe even a little bit are, and that not that they're this horrible person that you mistreat or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but they didn't know. Sometimes they kind of knew, but I don't think most people really think it's going to turn out exactly the way it turns out sometimes, They didn't think it through. Maybe they should have. I get it. Matthew 5:22 says, "But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. And whoever says to his brother, 'You good for nothing,' shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell." Wow. See, first, if we're going to deal with stupid, we're going to have to change our stinking thinking. Because we all have some of it, We all do have a little of it. So let's just go on a mission here. Do you know what your mission is? Your mission as the church is to break down the gates of hell. That's our job. Our job is to find places, entrances into hell, and find the people who are behind those gates and try to get those people set free from the hell that they're living on earth. Anybody besides me knows someone who's living a life of hell on earth. And so our goal is to see the gates of hell are not a place to be afraid of, they're a place to be busted into. That's our goal. So when we say to somebody, you're a fool, or you're an idiot, or you're stupid, or those kind of things, what we're doing is we're endangering our mission in that instead of us breaking into hell, hell's breaking into us. You realize that you're left here on earth because through you, heaven is invading earth. That's your job, is to be part of heaven invading earth. But there are people who are living in bondage, and they've been employed by a dark side who's trying to bring hell on earth. And by the way, I don't believe that heaven or hell are just eternal places that you go to when you die. They are that. But more than that, they are places that start on earth. And what's probably going to happen to most people who end up in hell is they're going to have a hell of a time here on earth. They're going to live like hell, and they're going to die like hell, and they're going to end up in hell because hell's all they've ever known. Some people are going to have a heavenly time here on earth. They're going to live like heaven. They're going to act like heaven, and they're going to go on moving into heaven. Heaven's going to be continued for them when this body ceases to function. Make sense? So when somebody does something that you feel like yelling at them about, you idiot! Maybe you can change the way you think, and you can say to yourself, rather than emphasizing the foolishness of their activity, maybe God has put me here right now because I recognize the foolishness of their activity, and I can help. I can help. I can break down the bonds of misunderstanding that they have about this situation, and I can bring them into a more heavenly mindset. Is this helping anybody at all, or you're just all looking at me like, this is the stupidest message I've ever heard? What is a message about stupid? I get it, but this is the point. Sometimes we have this ability to sit in a judgmental place and look at people and recognize their stupidness, their foolishness, their idiocracy, but we don't recognize that we have the same kinds of human natures that we are having to overcome and need to overcome too. And so the best way to start handling stupid is not by the spirit of stupid, but by another spirit altogether. And yelling and screaming and calling people idiots isn't the right spirit. So, what do we do? Well, there's this thing that the Bible says is the greatest. There are these three things, and it says, these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is? Okay, love. You all knew that? I knew you knew that. So what we have to do is we have to learn to keep our love on. Some of you have read that book. Danny Silk wrote a wonderful book, Keep Your Love On. Yep, I highly recommend it. 1 Corinthians 13:4 says, love suffers long and is kind. The first thing that Paul says about love is that love suffers long. How many of you have suffered because of somebody else's stupid? Yeah, right? Somebody else does something stupid and you suffer. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad. Because their stupid is giving you an opportunity to be Christ-like. What? I'm supposed to be happy when somebody does something stupid? Well, it beats the tar out of the alternative. You getting all ugly isn't helping stupid look any better, is it? In fact, you getting all ugly is just making stupid look more stupid. So what happens if you turn in love and are long-suffering? Some versions call it patient. What if you start being patient with stupid people? Here's a thought, too. What happens if you start being patient with stupid people and then you have your day when you're the stupid person? You reap what you sow. Oh, she's been in church all of her life, I can tell. Yes. Isn't this a marvelous thought? What if I can store up grace for the day of stupid? What if I can learn to show patience when people aren't getting it the way I think it ought to be gotten? What if I can be that kind of person? I think sometimes people think because I'm a pastor and because I work around Christians all the time, I can have a lot more patience because I don't have to deal with some of the people y'all have to deal with. But I'm going to tell you the truth. Sometimes it's harder to deal with people who should know better than it is to deal with people who I know don't know any better. But here's the reality. We all, everywhere we go, every day, are going to have to deal with people who are going to have their moments of stupid. So all of you who have jobs, this week you have a mission. Go in and love stupid people. Some of you are thinking, man, the opportunities abound where I work. And that's the truth. The opportunities do abound everywhere because they are ish. Ish is out there. That means everyone, all men, every person. You'll have this guy who will get up on the platform and start the fourth song when it's supposed to be the third one. Ish. There are always going to be people. I didn't know I was starting the fourth song, by the way. I didn't look down and go, hey, this would be great. Let's screw the whole song service up by starting the fourth song instead of the third one. Yeah, that would be great. Because I like making the rest of the musicians feel awkward and not know what to do. Won't that be fun? So they can all look at me like I've got two heads. Yeah. That was the plan. See, now I know why it happened, because God wanted me to have a great sermon illustration. I really didn't do it. I was being stupid. And he redeems the stupid. Exactly. Are you a redeemer like your Lord and Savior, or are you just a person who's going to tell all the stupid people how stupid they are? I'm going to fix this stupid world by telling all these stupid people how stupid they are. Well, how's that working for you? Because I don't know any of us who aren't around stupid people. My wife has to go home with one, you know. Sometimes she looks at me like, really? And sometimes she has a right to look at me like, really. It's like, yeah, I get it. Just like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there. I wasn't thinking there. I'm sorry. But her love covers a multitude of stupid in my life. And so this is just a real practical and yet, let me say, supernatural message. Because do you know that it is not natural for you to be filled with patience with stupid people? It wouldn't be natural. So if you start practicing being patient at the office, at the factory, at wherever, the fast food restaurant. How many of you have been in line at the drive-up and somebody orders like everything in the restaurant and you see them, you've been there for a half an hour and finally 2 huge bags come out the window and you're thinking, what? They weren't. They weren't thinking about you. They weren't thinking about that line of 50 cars behind them now. They were just wanting to go through the drive-thru and get their stuff. I'm sure they didn't sit there and go, hey, Ethel, let's go down to the drive-thru and clog it up by ordering everything in the place. Here's your sign. That's another. If you laughed, you've got a problem there. So I hope you'll remember this stupid message sometime this week. And when you run into somebody who's being stupid this week, all of a sudden you'll decide not to join them. Like, don't join them in being stupid. Well, but they hit my car. I can't help but join them. Well, you can make the situation more stupid, or you could just love somebody. I know it's kind of a different message, but think about it. I'll bet that at least 99% of you that go out this week, when you do run into stupid, if you think it through, you'll realize that the person who did it really was, let's say, ignorant. And you don't have to call them an ignoramus. You don't have to say anything. They probably already know it, and you're telling them that is not making the situation better. And just love on them and suffer long, even if you really are suffering, suffer long, and be kind, and give God a chance, because that might be the very person who you'll end up praying for, like one of our testimonies today. You'll end up praying for, and maybe they'll be the one that gets a healing from God. Wouldn't that be cool? They hit your car, and you pray for them, and they get healed. It'd be awesome.